Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the another episode of Virtual Global Leadership Podcast. We have a remarkable guest who embodies the idea that the right time for action is always now. Joining us is Rachana Dodeja, a visionary with over decades of experience in the corporate world. Rachana has harnessed her extensive expertise to create something truly extraordinary, nudge passion. It's more than just a platform. It is carefully curated space for skill and hobby learning, serving as one-stop solution for employee engagement and recreation, catering to both individuals and institutions alike. Throughout her illustrious career, Rachana has had the privilege of working with some of the world's largest organizations, including the Association of International Certified Professional Accounts, Bloomberg, Financial Technologies, Indus Guru Network Partners, and many more. Her expertise spans a wide range of areas from facing and engaging with customers to excelling in consultative sales, building robust relationships, nurturing and growing businesses, innovating and crafting effective strategies, leading teams, and enhancing talent. What truly sets Rachna apart are her leadership qualities grounded in trust, integrity, and compassion. Her unwavering commitment to these values have been the cornerstone of her success. But Rachna is not content with resting on her laurels. With a pioneering spirit and abundance of gift, relentless hustle, and unbridled divide, she continues to explore new horizons, always seeking to acquire fresh knowledge in various domains and relentlessly working towards continuous life improvement. Welcome, Rachna. How are you?
I am very good. Thank you so much for this fantastic introduction. And happy Sunday to everyone. Thank you so much for everyone. To everyone for taking out this time on this lazy Sunday afternoon. So, thank you so much. Thank you, Sagar, for this opportunity. And I think you're putting up a great show. This podcast is a fantastic podcast marathon, is a fantastic, very innovative idea by itself. So, congratulations to you on that.
Thank you, Rachna. I've been interacting with you. I've been, reading about your organization, and you've really mentioned that the time for self realization is now. Okay, so can
Yes.
you share a moment of experience that led you to your own self realization and which
Yes.
ultimately inspired you to create Nudge Passion?
So yeah, like everyone, I think lockdown, the COVID time, basically, really, you realize so many things when you are, by your own self, and you have no support of any sorts. That is the time when a lot of things you do, a lot of, thinking. I think I got a lot of time to do a lot of insightful thinking. And I always, like, I'm a Gujarati, obviously, so we always have this thing about doing something of our own. We can never be held Gujus are like that. So I always had this urge of doing something of my own, keeping in mind my own forte. So I don't want to really digress from my core forte. So I wanted to hold on to that, and I wanted to kind of, I really got down thinking as to what is it that I can do where my strengths can really be utilized, and what is that one problem that I can solve, and what is it that I can do to kind of help people achieve that work life balance. So yeah, COVID happened, and what happened was, like, I'm basically, I do a lot of hobby singing. So I used to take up these hobby classes, singing classes, and my husband actually paints, to basically just keep himself sane, and that's like a meditative space for him. So both of us switched to like online, art classes and singing classes. And then it so happened, because you're working and you have a network of yourself, I got so many calls from people telling me, Acha, do you have like a singer, do you have a Zumba trainer, do you have like a yoga teacher, do you have, can you help us, find someone who can put up like a activity online and stuff. So I was, anyway, just doing this voluntarily for a lot of my friends and family and stuff like that. So I just told my husband one day, we're doing this already, and it is, it's as good as doing this, online classes also is like as good as doing it live, live. This, I don't see any difference at all, and all, each and every student, was onboarded, when it all got converted online as well. So we did take. So I sat down with my husband and I said, I look, I have stumbled upon this idea that, where we can actually bring, each and every hobby class all under one roof. And then once we have a huge partner base, we can take all these to corporates where we can, do all these activities to a group. Like, it could be corporates or it could be to societies, associations, to groups, etc. So it took me at least 8 to 10 months. So this is not by fluke. Nudge Passion is not by fluke. The name itself has taken me like a 2 or 3 day months. Like how do I correlate it to what I really believe in? So the name really came from Nudge Your Passion. So nudgepassion.com really. So I try to nudge myself a little bit, and I'm really looking out to nudge people out there that go out there and try to find yourself better. Just nudge yourself a little more, and you can really really achieve what you want to do. So yeah, it took us about 8 to 10 months. So I sat down, we decided the whole plan. I ran this whole concept through a lot of my mentors, a lot of my friends, and we kicked off the first B2C model, where we started off with 13 categories on the platform. We created a platform where we have 13 categories across wellness to yoga to dance to singing to art and craft to image and lifestyle, gardening, painting. So each and every hobby, keeping most of the hobbies in mind, we created these 13 categories, and we got partners to actually sign up on our portal and showcase their courses or workshops on there. And we would be like an integrated solution where if you want to upskill yourself or if you want to learn something new, you can just come to nudgepassion.com and enhance your life in any way, right? So we started off with Nudge Passion. We started off with the B2C platform, and then slowly and steadily we started reaching out to corporates where we took these same partners. We took them to corporates, and we cracked our first deal with Siemens, where we did like a cocktail making workshop with them, where we even created like 200 cocktail hampers, so to say. We created the whole thing. We kits, we shipped them to 200 locations, and then we had a cocktail making workshop, by a professional bartender who was sitting this side and engaging people on the history of cocktail and how to make your own drinks, how to host house parties and stuff. And yeah, there's no looking back from there. So yeah, that's how it all started. So 2021 is when we've really come into, we really like kicked off. So almost after a year of planning this, building the whole platform, we've then like entered the industry, the market. Yeah.
And what are your current areas of focus? Like, what is it that
So
you're
now,
planning?
I mean, after a year of really trying the B2C and really pushing all our workshops and courses into to individuals, we realized that our efforts are really more visible on the B2B side. And my forte, typically 20 years, I've always been on the B2B side. So I realized that we should switch focus to B2B. And what we can do is our we now basically want to engage with your clients or with your employees. And if you're looking for a very innovative idea, on how you could engage with your employees or clients better, I think we are a place to go. So you can reach out to us. And we've now within a year, I think a little over a year, we've managed to work with over 20 corporates, very good names like Siemens, Bombay Stock Exchange, Wellspun, Tata Motor Finance, Tata Motors. So we have some Tata Power. So we have some very good names on our list as well.
Wonderful, wonderful. Rachana, in your extensive 20-year career, you have worked with some of the world's largest organizations. What key lessons have you learned from these experiences that continue to shape your approach to business and leadership?
Um, the one approach that I have always used, and I think I always believe in, being very compassionate with the client, which means that we assume a lot of things, that this is what he's looking for, or this is what he needs. I think give it some time and be a good listener. And when you try and understand his pain points, you can really provide that solution. You can really provide a solution that will really save him, or that will solve his problems. So if you are compassion, if you understand the client's pain areas, I think you can, that's it. I mean, you crack the whole thing. And if you try and build that during your course of conversations and meetings, that trust, if you build that trust with your client, I think your job is done. If you just understand the client, the psyche of the client, the organization, I think that's what has helped me. I really spend some time in, I'm not a salesperson. I thrive on, farming strategies. So I really do a lot of, building relationships. I do building a lot of trust, empathy, integrity. And using these skills, clients really tend to open up with me. They find me very trustworthy. And, then when they tell me what their concerns are, I can really go back, and I try and ask a lot of open-ended questions. And when I gather information, I can then provide a solution that they really need. So I think that really has helped me, all through these years. So yeah.
Absolutely. Creating trust, compassion are some of the displaying compassion are some of the important areas, not only in business, but it also supports in our personal life.
Personal
But for
lives, yeah.
but for entrepreneurs, and for that matter, any senior leader or leader listening to our conversation, what are some of the steps or baby steps you take to build genuine connect and build that trust? It would be really helpful if you share that.
um you have to be very consistent. You have to be very, very persistent with, a client or a prospect. You should always reach out to them when they need you, or you should always basically respond. I think you have to be very, very responsive. And when you, like I said, if you are a good listener, if you have this whole consultative trait, when you try and understand the client better, if you do a little bit research, before you meet a prospective customer, or someone that, if you research about him, from where he was, or where he or she came from, what is the kind of organization they work with, what is the style of the organization. And if you try and make very open ended conversations with people, you can obviously gauge a lot of information. You can obviously understand the client much, much, much better. So if you listen very carefully, rather than just going out there and selling what you have, if you listen, and if you just go for some very casual meetings instead of just going out there and making sales, I think that'll really, he if you keep going out there, if you just keep being there, showing your face, I think some he will keep you in mind, and someday he will call you when he needs you. So yeah, that works for me. So yeah.
You touched upon a very important point on
Mhm.
having a consultative approach, and
Right.
consultative sales is also one of the areas which even new age startups are looking at or organizations are looking at. So based on your experiences, what advice you have for individuals who want to excel in this particular skill, that is consultative skills? Yes, you mentioned about listening, that is important, but there are any other other aspects that one must look at?
I always think you should not overwhelm people with, your product. If you just go out there and tell them that, take this, this is what we have, this is, what we can do for you. I don't think we should overwhelm clients with too much information. One is when you, like, even you, if you're a customer, right? If you go out there and go to a store, if somebody is just pushing you with too much, you will take a step back and you will say, no, 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 I think I'll take some time, I'll go back and I'll come back again. So I think, you when I say consultative, when you understand the client, that is when you've spent some time with the client, you will understand the psyche of the client. I mean, some of them are very bubbly, some of them are very conservative, some of them have a very typical approach. Some of them don't like to be pushed. Some of them are very happy and they want to make very they want to make healthy conversations with you. Some of them want to be in their space, that okay, just show me what you have, and I'll decide what I want to do. That happens when you spend a lot of time making conversations, doing a lot of research before you visit the client. If you have done a little bit of research on the organization he's working for, on the person he is, and if you can even make a few calls or take out a few references. I think reference is a very big trust, that using references is a very big trust step that you can use at your client. So if you are able to look out for common connects somewhere, and if you can use those references also, I think that really builds a lot of trust with the client. And obviously, if you have done some commendable work in your past, and if you use those examples also, that where are you coming from, like if you also tell them that your journey also has been built on a lot of good milestones, that also will bring a lot of value and trust to the client. So if you are able to build that both sides, I think it will happen. And consultative sales is not something that you can sell. You say make a sale and you forget. It has to be a lot of, it is a continuous process, where you have to keep going to the client, keep showing value, keep going back to them with something, what is in it for them, right? So keep going back to them with something, some kind of value. And if you keep portraying that, I think you're going to be there. So one of your, there, you're going to be one of their preferred, you know uh, people that they can reach out to.
Sure, sure. Thank you, Rachna, for sharing that perspective. And one more aspect that is not widely spoken about is about experience management. And I know the field that you are in, you have to manage the experiences, of course, of your end users, plus the stakeholders that are in between, rather who are the
Yeah.
facilitators, and also your, let's say, team. So how does one effectively manage those experiences? And I'm not using the word relationship here, experiences, because that is where they will reconnect and would like to connect back, and and exchange.
Yes.
Yeah, so please share your thoughts here.
So see, in our business, we work only on customer experience. So our only goal is to give them like a, to wow them basically, right? So at the end of the event, we should make them feel happy, of course, but they should also be like blown away. I mean, that's really what I work for. That I keep the
Yeah,
best. So what typically as an organization, what we do is we keep that last one surprise element for the client, where he doesn't know about that, and we try and exceed his expectation. So you commit to what you have. You obviously give him what we have committed, but you also go one small step ahead and give him something more than he has expected. And I think that really, he will keep that in mind. And I want every engagement that we do, we want to really blow the client away with, we want to just wow him. Sometimes you fail, sometimes you exceed their expectations, but you have to be there. You have to gather feedback, you have to accept feedback, and you have to keep working towards bettering yourself and your people as an organization. So yeah, you have to obviously take a lot of feedback, and obviously ask the client also that I hope we did a good job, and if not, obviously positively work towards our shortcomings as well. So customer experiences is everything in today's world. You have to be there because there's so much competition. You have to go that extra mile. Everybody is doing their thing of giving what the client needs, but if you go that one step ahead and give him something which he is not expected, beyond his expectations, I think that is where you will stand apart really. So yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. Rasha, we have a theme here where we discuss also the future of work, career growth, managing
Yes.
failures. Right, this is more from your perspective. Where do you see we are heading in terms of future of work happening, not only in India but globally or whatever locally? Up to you. Like, what is your take on that?
Technology, I think that's everyone and everywhere. That's for everyone and everywhere, and that has made life very, very easy for everyone. So I think if you don't adapt and accept technology, I think you will be left behind. So, technology. And I think this thing of unlearning. So, especially like our generation or somebody who's like been older than us, they have very set rules of, this is how work should happen, or this is how we should be doing things, or this is how business should be run. Those are very old style, old school thoughts. You should be very, very open to accepting your mistakes, relearning, unlearning a lot of things that you know now. And you should be very, very adaptive to change. If you don't do that, I think you will be left with um, very fewer options. So, obviously. So, technology, the Gen Z's, onboarding Gen Z's, I think they have so much clarity, and they have so many fresher ideas. I think there's so much that you can learn from them too. So if you hiring younger, obviously the older generation has the experience, and has been there for decades. But we should also accept and onboard these youngies and freshies, and use their combination of thought, and adapt technology, and hybrid. Mumbai, in a place like Mumbai, for example, we waste a lot of time in traveling, and a lot of waste of time and energy, basically. So a hybrid kind of a solution. Give ownership to people, and let people don't micromanage, and work will happen. I mean, you can be anywhere in the world, and you can achieve what you want. So yeah.
You touched upon a very important point on unlearning. So, what is your process? Consciously, subconsciously, you do to unlearn yourself.
Every day, so I question myself, like, okay, I have been doing this for like 20 years, but I'm really not stuck up now on like, this is how I used to do things. Like, you have to really read, you have to really talk to people, you have to really adapt a lot of technology. And I am a very I have learned being flexible and being adaptive to change has really like helped me achieve what I want to achieve, basically. So I think, yeah, you have to like give a, if need be, obviously, you have to relearn, and you have to be very, very adaptive to change. Once you do that, I think you will stay younger here forever, actually.
Perfect. Good, good. Thank you for sharing that. So, it's a very common term that we all use, that failures, challenges are part and parcel of life. Having said that, uh, we cannot hide away from that or run away from that. So, what's
Absolutely.
your, how do you, what is your way, method, process of managing it and, moving forward? An insight there would really help the viewers.
Accepting first. You cannot be emotionally attached to anything. That's one thing that I learned, that you tend to get, because it is your own baby, right? It is your own startup. You tend to get very, very emotionally attached with it. So accepting and letting go that, okay, you've made a mistake. For example, we started with the B2C platform, and we spent a lot of money, time, and effort on running it. And for a year we really struggled as to why is it not working, and oh, I thought my idea was fantastic, and why are we not getting enough traction there. And we've put in so much. It has to work. So you are very emotionally biased, and so is your family. They can't see you fail, so they are very, very emotionally biased to you and to your emotions as well. I think you have to pick up yourself, accept that you've made a mistake, and if this is not working for you, there has to be a better way. You have to like turn things around. Talk to people. Always have some mentors with you, who will give you unbiased opinions, and will give you someone like you, for example, an enabler, who will always be there, and who will always give you this very neutral feedback, and tell you what is right and what is wrong, and take actions accordingly and quickly. If you've made a mistake, I think just quickly cut loss, as they say. Just cut loss, pick up yourself, and start again. Obviously, failures are a part of our lives, and we have to fail, because only when we fail we will learn, right? So we have to fail, but you have to quickly accept that, yes, we've made a mistake. Write that off, accept it very gracefully, and then move on. Look for better avenues which will help you grow ahead. Yeah. So
Thank you, Rachna, for sharing that
yeah.
perspective. Risha, leading teams is also a complex endeavor, and I'm sure as a startup founder yourself, you're always in a, let's say, a leadership position. What principles or strategies you have found most effective in guiding and motivating your team towards success? And Rachna, feel free to share instances from your corporate experience and also your startup experience. I think it will be welcome. Both the thoughts would be
Sure.
welcome. Yeah.
Sure. So I think in today's world, when you set your foot at work, right, I'm already assuming that you are a very mature individual, because you are going to start work, and you're going to be by yourself, on your feet, right? So one is this idea of micromanaging people. I just kind of, I really don't want to ever do that, and I hated that myself. When you keep telling people, every single, or keep tracking every single movement of theirs, it really gets on to you, which means that you don't trust them enough to basically let them be. So you let them, we kind of tell them that, okay, you are a mature individual. Since you are working, we assume that you are a very mature individual, and we you give them some KRAs which they are supposed to take ownership of. So if you are given a list of KRAs and things to do, targets to do, we are assuming that you will do your job. At least give them a chance to let them be their way, take ownership of the task that they are assigned to. If that is not happening, obviously then you can take some steps, or take some baby steps, as to talking to them, having a one-on-one conversation with them, and trying to gauge, again, listening to them instead of assuming or writing them off, saying that, Asha, they're not doing their job enough, let me just get rid of them. Instead of that, if you try and have some conversations, try and take them in confidence, they might have some inputs to give you. Maybe they have some issues outside of work, or maybe they're not finding this role suitable enough for them. So if you have the capability, you can maybe, like, turn things around for them and for you. And yeah, employee engagement, I think if you do a work life balance with them, if you engage with them, our theme of our organization, if you help them keep a balance, if you keep them, like, happy, if you take some steps where you engage with them better, you do some kind of activities, or you take some steps where they feel very comfortable coming back to work every single day. If they feel, they should look forward to come to work every day, right? They should look forward to own the work that they are doing, right? So I think if we look at these aspects, listening to your employees, giving them ownership, and giving them a work life balance, employee engagement, like I said, that's very, very important. Making them feel, keeping them involved in a lot of these festives which we have in India, or a lot of these good days that we can celebrate together. They will feel like family, and I'm sure they will kind of produce better, basically.
So, Rachna, good that you mentioned this. I would like to know more about, you have delivered many successful projects, but can you, share one such story where you felt extremely proud about the work that you're doing with respect to employee engagement?
Yes, it was a very recent activity that we planned for Siemens. So Siemens actually had a whole, their CFO and their bottom two line managing teams, basically had like a team building activity, and they were stay put in in Mumbai at the Holiday Inn hotel. So they came to us with a very specific ask, saying that day one they would want an activity which should be like a team building activity, which should also in infuse some kind of a CSR, and giving back to the society, kind of an activity. And they already had some ideas in mind. Like they said, we wanted to cook some food, or we wanted to like make some benches, donate in schools and stuff like that. And day two, they were looking at something in a way of well-being, and but something which is not very heavy, and it should not be too, like, taxing on them. So we obviously, when I met them, I tried to understand where are they coming from, different locations, are they going to check in on the same day, and obviously you have to keep their budgets in mind. Are they going to stay put, where is the location, and what is the age of the employees, and what locations are they coming in from. So after asking these questions, we actually gave them some very innovative ideas. One of them which got shortlisted was build a bicycle challenge. So we actually had these 70 people in a room. Okay, we hid these bicycle tools, like parts of the bicycle were completely dismantled and hidden. There were 8 teams that got created. We did a lot of trivia challenges and a lot of a lot of fun games and activities by which these teams got formed. And then each of them were given these small trivia challenges where they solve them. Only when they solve these trivia challenges, they will earn the toolkit to actually create a bicycle. So these teams actually got together and created 8 brand new bicycles for each team. And there were also mechanics there at the spot who would kind of do their quality checks and all that. Once these bicycles were ready, we did like a relay slow race with them. So that imbibes a lot of like challenge and a lot of competition amongst the teams, were healthy competition. It was a slow race, so who is the slowest one riding the bicycle, and it was a relay race. So that was like really a high. But the highest point, which was like a surprise for them, when they built these bicycles, to till then they thought it was a team building activity. The highest and the surprise element was it was tied up to a CSR activity. So we brought in like an NGO, and who had shortlisted these 8 children who actually walk up to 10 kilometers to go to their school, just to get some kind form of education. So these 8 bicycles were actually donated. So then the CSR, the NGO comes in with these 8 children, and these we give these very fancy placards and message boards that you need to write for, like a very nice message that you need to write for these the children that you gift this bicycle to. And 8 of these children were gifted these bicycles to take back home. So I think the day ended with such a high, and everyone was feeling so good and very emotional that yeah, they've contributed, they've done something. They've not only built a bicycle, but they've also donated that bicycle to someone who really can make good use of it. So that's day one. Day two, they everyone walks in, and what we had organized for them was a sound healing. It's called an immersive sound healing experience, which is like a sound bath. So since they told me that every it would have been like a very long day for them for day one, they didn't want something very heavy. They wanted to experience something new, but also not something where they had to do a lot of activities and would just kind of tire them more. So all you have to do is just walk inside the room, and you will have your small mattresses. So each of them just takes sits on a mattress. We started with some very easy warming up, and opening yourself, some very easy asanas and very easy breathing exercises and stuff. Just after 10 minutes into the warming up, we just ask everyone to basically just lie down and close their eyes. And this activity is actually called an immersive sound healing activity. So there is this whole group who actually uses 30 instruments, and these they will be playing these instruments. They will also be humming some scripts, which are depending on the theme that you have selected. They will be humming and singing these scripts, and they will be playing these 30 different kind of instruments. When you are in your sleep, I won't say you are in your sleep, you are taken into a deep relaxation and meditative kind of situation. And I experienced it myself. If you will feel like you are floating, and the experience, like even when I'm talking, I actually get goosebumps. So the experience was like, it just blew, like I said, it just blew the client away. And slowly, after that 1 hour of experiencing those sounds and the humming, you slowly ask to like integrate yourself. You come back to your position, and when we recorded conversations, when we recorded feedback, these the people were like, oh my god, what was this? I mean, they felt so good. I mean, they felt so empty, so relaxed, and so free of anxiety. And so many of them didn't even want to speak. They're like, we want to just stay with this experience. And we saw so many of them just go back to their rooms, and almost everybody wanted to give us feedback, and they were like, this is something that we have never experienced. And I mean, I just felt feelings, I mean, I just left feeling so good. And I thought that, yeah, this is what we want to do more. We should really, customer experience, we really want to make employees feel complete, and feel so good at the end of the day. And when I left, I was just saying thank yous to everyone, and for the opportunity. When I left, I mean, like, almost everyone was like, we've not experienced something like this. Day one and day two, both these activities were designed so well, and executed so well. Yeah, that gives me a high, that yeah, okay, I've done something worthwhile, and something which, I mean, yeah, these people have really had some kind of an experience. So yeah, I felt very good. I mean, I felt, yeah, this is what I want to do, and this is what, I want to make people, I want to have make people like experience something like, different, something that they haven't done before. So yeah.
Interesting, interesting. Thank you for sharing that experience.
Sure.
I think what I understood is that you started with, let's say, a competitive spirit, that is C. Then you made them collaborate. Then
Yes.
you made them collaborate, and then when you supported a community, they all shared a compassion, and
Yes,
day two was
absolutely.
and day two was all about care. The four C's is just
Yes,
something
the
that
four
I
C's.
just.
Yes, 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 absolutely, absolutely, bang on.
Perfect,
Yes.
perfect. So, Rachna, the world is, changing rapidly. So, how do you stay informed, and you adapt yourself to the new trends and developments in your field?
Right. So, I mean, at least the way we do it is, obviously we read a lot of global columns and posts, etc. That's like a daily routine where you have to see what's happening in the world. What is it you can bring into in here as well. And secondly, you have to talk to a lot of fellow community members, and try and understand what is it that they are doing differently, and how is it that we can also adapt and learn from them. See, we also speak to a lot of industry experts. So, like, I try to, when I meet these, L&D heads, or if I meet HR heads, etc., I really gather a lot of information from them. I ask them, like, what is it that you guys are doing? And, how is it that you want to, how is it that you can better your experience with your employees? So when you kind of gather that, information, you can take that back home and, embed that into your, work ethic, I think. Then that kind of completes it. And then, yeah, obviously you should also have a mentor and coach who, I think, that is really helped, where you have a mentor and coach who knows, who's already talking to a lot of fellow, who's tying you in with a lot of fellow community members, and fellow startups, etc. And he fills you in with a lot of information, telling, he tells you that, he or she basically tells you that, yeah, okay, this is what other startups are doing, and maybe you could benefit from that too. Fourth is, I think, you also have to be you have to be a part of a lot of communities and a lot of platforms yourself. You put yourself out there, right? So you have to really go be a part of a lot of these clubs and a lot of these communities, startup found, communities, etc. And you will get a sense as to, yeah, what's happening, lately, and what are these fellow startups, or what are organizations doing these days. So, yeah, it has to be a mix of, putting yourself out there, learning from, fellow members, learning, taking information from your clients, obviously adapting technology. I think everything put together, kind of. And social media, you see a lot of stuff happening on social media as well. So I think you should catch up to, that, and make exploit it as much as you can, to better yourself, better your experiences.
Rachna, what advice you would like to offer to aspiring entrepreneurs and leaders who aim to make a significant impact in their respective industries, based on your journey so far?
uh, I already mentioned this before, that one is, don't be scared to take a step, so don't really think, okay, after I make some X amount of money, I will start my own, journey. Or, one is taking that step. If you have taken that step, I think you've already already have a lot of courage in you, because if you have taken that step to start your own journey, and entrepreneurship is not a bed of roses. You're not going to make money, obviously, if you think that, okay, if I you think your idea is brilliant and you're just going to start making money immediately, that's not going to be happen, that's not going to happen so soon. So learn to be patient, learn to be adaptive. I think we should learn to unlearn, learn to relearn, and accept your mistakes, accept your failures, take risks. But if you've made a mistake, accept quickly, and then kind of look at ways where you can learn from your mistakes. So there is always there is always an opportunity in, they say, disruptiveness, right? So when there will always be something in it. When you make a mistake, you will always, there will be something for you to take away from there, and your next idea will obviously come from your mistake only. So if you understand that, I think you will be able to make it. And yeah, and you have to be, and one thing is that if you're not passionate, if you have to believe yourself that, okay, this is going to work. So if you have to be very, very, very passionate, but at the same time you cannot be very emotional. You have to be very, very passionate about what you're doing. If people see that hunger in you, right, if people see that you're so driven by this, it'll rub in it, it'll rub into them as well. So but yeah, but don't be very emotionally attached, because you could make a mistake and it could all just blow away. But yeah, so you should learn to be very practical, as but at the same time be very, very, very passionate about what you do. You have to breathe your job, right? And it's like your baby. So when you make, when you start your entrepreneurship journey, it's not going to be easy. Like bringing up a baby, the first 1 year or the first 2-3 years are very, very critical, right? So exactly like that, those initial years are going to be very, very tough. So many times you're going to think that maybe you've made a mistake, or whatever. But if you stick to it, and if you have your core support group, you create one group of trust for yourself, these people who will support you, and your friends and your mentors and your family, these people who will support you against all your odds. So create that environment of seeking for help, create that environment of trust, for yourself. And yeah, and like I said, if you've taken that step, if you've already taken that, started with that journey, you've already have a lot of courage in you. So kudos to that, because it's not easy to be an entrepreneur. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and you're right. Like raising a startup is like raising a baby. But just
Mm.
one aspect is that baby also needs rest. Okay, so here
Yes.
I'm not putting here I'm not putting you on spot, but I'm just wanting to understand what areas you are focusing, so that there is a work life integration in that way, so that it actually eases, because a lot of maybe work also leads to unfortunately leads to stress. So what advice, suggestions, or other actions you are also taking, so that you are able to balance these areas?
So effective delegation, obviously learn to delegate your tasks, because if you do hard work, you're not going to go anywhere. You have to learn how to organize, your time better. You keep telling me that all the time. So I have to, you have to learn how to organize your time better. You can put in those quality 4 hours. Even if you put in those quality 4 hours in a day, I think that much is enough for a founder or for a CEO. Take help from people, or hire help, or outsource. If you have, if you can, if you cannot hire, then maybe you can outsource. So
Mm,
just outsource as many tasks which are not your key forte, like for example accounting, for example, or maybe cold calling, for example, or maybe technical stuff, which is something which is not your forte. Just stick to your core skill, stick to that, keep that with you, and just outsource the other activities. Maybe if you don't have the funds right now, seek for help, ask your friends, or ask your support group to basically help you out. Do as much as effective delegation that you can do. Organize your time better, and be connected. I think LinkedIn, for example, is a, obviously the space is a fab space to make your connections. So be on platforms, and put yourself out there, and go out there, meet people as much as you can, because only when you go out there you will know what's happening outside, right? So only when you go, if only when you're part of a lot of communities, only when you're part of all of these kind of platforms or clubs, you will know what is happening these days, and what are your fellow fellow entrepreneurs doing as well, right? So you have to organize maybe your day and then your week and your month. I think time organization is a very, very core. If that falls in place, I think everything will fall in place. I'm really trying to work on that myself. But yeah, I have at least started to delegate, because accounting is something that I don't understand much. I kind of I've kind of outsourced that. Marketing is outsourced. Cold calling, business development, cold calling is typically outsourced, right? So whatever is not your key technicalities, upgrading software, upgradation, AI, all of that is typically you seek help from an expert, right? Because you cannot do everything yourself, right? You in the in the thing of doing everything, you will end up doing nothing. You will be just so drained at the end of the day, and you're just doing these worthless chores, if I had to put it that way. You just get pulled into a lot of things that are not relevant, really, and they don't really add to the bottom line. So you know spend your time, organize your time. Very, very organizing your time and your calendar is very, very crucial. It could be maybe, even if you work maybe just 3 to 4 hours in a day, I think you can really make good use of those if you have organized yourself better. So yeah. And delegation, effective delegation, I think these are two very, very important aspects that we could really put to use, basically.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you, Rachna, for sharing that perspective. So, what does success mean to you personally, and how your definition of success has evolved over the years?
Initially, success was always tied into money. So how much do you make at the end of the day, right? So growing up, that was always the key enabler. Monetary gain, I think, has always been a very key driving definition to success. That how much do you, at this age, this is what you make, right? So and
Some
the material
societal,
things
it's a
yes.
societal and a peer thing, isn't it?
Yes, yes, yes. Like,
Yeah.
this is the bag, this is the brand you use, or these are the places you go to. This is the kind of travel, like I would travel, let's say 3 to 4 times international. It's okay. These are my travel plans, or this is the car you drive, or, this is the place I stay. So obviously success meant a lot of these, obviously was tied into a lot of material things. For me now, success, because I am in a very, like, fortunately I am in a comfortable space, and I have created that for myself mentally, that I am in a very, very comfortable space now. And for me, success at the end of the day is making some meaningful connections, at least 2 or 3 meaningful connections in a day. um, these kind of activities, when we do some, and when the client gives you feedback, obviously sales always has given me a kick. So when you make a sale, and when you bring money on the table, that that is one strength that you have, that you can get money on the table. So obviously that has always been, you know the drive for me. Sales, that is a very big kick for me, yes. But also customer experience, when the customer tells me that I have done a good job, and if he gives me a reference, I think, that's a very big success for me. Like, I can tell you that in 1.5 year, I have not deliberately gone out and done a cold call. All my business has been only on my references, and only on the experiences that, my clients have actually given me, and my friends who know me, and, who have, taken me to my clients, my, the community that have built in these years. That's always been my story. I have never, even while I was working, I never went out there looking for work. It was my client, when I joined Bloomberg, like my client actually recommended me to Bloomberg. When I joined my first organization, Telerate, my business, like my boss was actually using that Telerate solution, and he, there was this ad in the newspaper, and he told me that, don't waste your time here, like, why don't you apply on this newspaper ad? And I said, will it happen? He said, just give it a shot. We are already using this solution. So it's always been like that, where I've never really gone out and looked for work or looked for business. It has happened, this circle of trust, or this circle of this community that I have built over the years. I think that really means a lot to me. That is success for me, and I don't want to do too. I mean, it's not the quantity, obviously, but if you do quality work, and the corporates that I've been able to bring on board, I think even the quality, like I said, these two events that I spoke to, that we did for this month, September 6th and 7th, this will stay. I mean, that is success for me. The experience of the customer, the feedback of the customer. So
Have
yeah,
you recorded
that
those? Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
yes,
Yes, I was
yes,
saying.
yeah. So that is really when you make meaningful connections, and you learn something new again. Like I said, I this month I have actually tried my hands on AI. So for me, success is that I have tried to, like, do some kind of learning, unlearning, or whatever you want to call it. Tried my hands on AI. So I learned like a new skill. I'm learning technology, and I am making some meaningful connections. I'm doing some good substantial work. I'm adding some good clients, or also adding to my bottom line. I think that is success for me now. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Now I'm going to ask you one question, and this time I'm actually putting you on spot because it is said that when
Sure.
you commit something publicly, you would make it. So, what are your
Sure.
goals and aspirations for the future, both for yourself and for Nudge Passion?
So goals and aspirations, obviously we want to continue, this space. We clearly know that we want to be. So for me, my why have I kicked off this startup? I mean, this question that I ask myself: what is that one problem that I'm solving for the client? So it should not be because this, I think it's a great idea, but I think that I should be able to solve that one problem of the client, and I could give him a solution to that one problem. So here we are a one stop employee engagement platform, which means that you don't need to go to different kind of vendors. You don't need to go to like 4 or 5 vendors for executing one single activity. For example, let's say you had an event at work, and you were looking for, let's say you were looking for some technical setup, some kind of setting up of stage, or setting up of mics and sound system. Then you were looking for an anchor to drive it. Then you were looking for, let's say, some kind of a DJ, or to drive, basically, to create that fun element. You also wanted to feed your employees. So, okay, you're looking at some kind of catering solutions, to feed your employees. You're also looking to give away some mementos. So you want to do some gifts. So you'll have to internally actually go to 4 or 5 vendors for doing these various different activities. So where we step in, we basically act as a one stop shop. So instead of you going to different vendors and having different kind of engagements and conversations, just come to us, and we will be fulfilling each and every aspect of that engagement, basically. Okay. There is also another step to it, where when we say our approach is very consultative. You might have a theme in mind, but when you come to an expert like us, we will actually give you some very innovative ideas. So we will also, in fact, lead you to some very interesting and innovative ideas which you have maybe not used before to engage with your clients or employees. So so right from the ideation to the concept to execution, we are like a one stop shop who, for any fulfilling any kind of activities, and we balance both sides. So again, if you had to do some very serious learning interventions, for example, if you want to plan some trainings for your employees, or if you want to engage with any kind of fun activities, we balance both. So we have a mix of both. So you can, like I said, so even for any kind of serious learning interventions, you could come to us, or any fun. So again, you'll have to look at 2 different vendors for both of these activities. When I say one stop shop, I mean we're a complete store, I've so I had to say, for
Universe.
fulfilling your employee. engagement. Yes.
To
So,
universe.
you just have to come to us and talk to us about, okay, this is what you plan to do for your employees. You can leave the rest to us, right from ideation to consulting to execution. We can do everything. We will be able to do everything for you, basically.
Wonderful,
So
Rachna.
yeah, when you are the question, coming back to the question. So obviously, um, for me, my goal is to become one of India's leading employee engagement partner. And going forward, we also want to open a lot of these studios where we can host a lot of these employee engagement activities. We invite experts from all over the world, and we could give experiences to our customers. We host these very unique offerings, innovative learning activities or fun activities for, it could be employees or it could be to groups of people. We host these experts to into our studio, and we then give them an experience, a very different experimental kind of an experience for them to have. So that's really the thought. We also want to own a lot of these. So what we've started just like a few months back, we have a monthly event calendar. So what we do is we curate a lot of these activities for you. So instead of you thinking, acha, what will I do in October, we are already designing like a event calendar, a monthly event calendar for you. We did that one calendar for Ganpati. So how could you engage your employees for Ganesh Chaturthi? We also did one for the monsoon season. So we plan to come out with these very monthly or quarterly event calendar offerings, where we curate these activities, where we think based on this month or based on this quarter, these are some activities which you could actually. So we already curate, so we take that pain from you for even thinking as a, what is it that you can, how is it that you can engage with your employees. So we're already doing that. We send this out to a lot of these HR heads and L&D heads. We send these activities out, and these are ready to use activities, right? You could pick any one of them, and we could just kind of execute those for you. So we've already started that. We want to better that, keep working on those, and bring very innovative kind, keep looking out for very innovative offerings, and bring those into the B2B community, bring those very innovative ideas and activities to engage with your employees. Yeah, and in turn make them more productive and happy, and maybe retain them at your organization. So
The drive, the passion, the fire, it seems like the way you are expressing. No, no, it's wonderful, Priya, and I would like to continue to ignite this process. Thank you once again for joining us and sharing your journey, your perspectives on. I think we discussed, I think covered up almost all best possible topics we could have covered
Sure,
in an under 60 minutes time. Before we end this
sure.
conversation, your quick closing comments, and if viewers would like to connect with you, where they can reach out to you.
Sure. So nudgepassion.com is the place where you can, that's our website. You can have a look at our website. Act Nudge Passion is our handle. You can look up for us on Insta or on Facebook or on LinkedIn. And Nudge Passion, Rachna at nudgepassion.com is my email. You can maybe write to me. And my phone number, I don't know if I'm allowed to share that here. So,
But
maybe.
how about LinkedIn?
Uh, yeah, that's why I said Rachana Pathak Dodeja is my
Okay.
LinkedIn profile. Nudge Passion is our page. You can maybe ping me on any of these, pages or on my profile. I'll be happy to connect with you. Yeah. I just want to thank everyone, especially Sagar, for this, great opportunity today, and wishing everyone a very happy Ganesh Chaturthi, because this is one of my closest festivals of the year. I'm like very connected with Ganesha. I think that's this festives that makes our country so rich. And obviously Ganesh Chaturthi is one of the best festives that we have for our country. So yeah,
Absolutely.
all the best to everyone. Thank you so much, Sagar, again, and thank you to all our viewers who's just who've come on the platform and kind of heard my side of story for this 1 hour, bearing with me for this 1 hour. Thank you so much.
So Rachna, you helped me close this event. I was going to share the same, but thank you. You did that. But only
Okay.
one thing, viewers, the marathon is still on. So we have a
Yes.
podcast again at 4 p.m. today, where we'll be having Mr. Mayur Kachare, who is the founder of Pirates Alert, and he is anti-piracy expert. So great
Oh, great.
time to also get a perspective on how can we be cautious on the new developments and the technological developments that are happening, and how can we create a safe space digitally for for ourselves, if even if we are a startup or corporate. So see you all at 4 p.m. today. Bye bye.
Yes, sure. Thank you so much, Sagar. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.